Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? So exciting news. The Ukraine war is over unofficially. The military went to Putin. They signed their documents and they're just waiting how to make it official. Russia basically gets the eastern cities along the Russian borders all. Nothing with NATO, nothing with Western Ukraine. They'll probably get Zelensky out and put in a pro-Russian guy or maybe a pro-Austrian, and that'll be it. So I might actually be able to fly to St. Pete if that is allowed. That's the other question. So anyway, that's exciting news. I'll play some alligator. He talks about silver, and you'll have to wait a little bit more on silver. That basically silver is the central banks don't hoard silver like they hold gold. But he thinks as soon as the dollar collapses and gold starts going up, then silver will go up with it. So don't worry, Bobby. You got your silver, Luke. Right now, it's just kept down for the practical use in electric batteries and solar panels and all the bullshit. So they leave the price down or they wouldn't be able to make them. And then it's going to go into more of a metal, of a money, and then the price will go up. Right now they're keeping it down on purpose to keep so that you can buy the silver to make these products. So right now it's more industrial than money, but it is money. It will go up. But if you're really looking for things to go up, I would be more into gold, which I've been lately. All right. But don't worry, your silver's fine, but you just want to buy some gold. You always want to buy gold anyway. All right, well, let's go into football. There's only 4 games this weekend. Your free picks, KC. But let's go through the lines. We start with Houston 9.5, 43.5. Number hasn't moved. Frisco 10, 50.5. Moved up from 9.5. The Lions 6.5, 49.5. And Buffalo 2.5, 45.5. So really, there's not much movement on the line. Let's go look at the weather. And let's see what the weather says. Houston, Baltimore, everybody looks healthy for both teams. And it's 24 degrees, sunny, and 16-mile-an-hour winds, which have consistently gone down. They were 21, 22, then 17 yesterday, 16. Shouldn't have a bearing on the game. Green Bay and the Niners, looks like everybody's healthy. Jones, Watson, Dobbs, McCaffrey, everybody's good. 86% chance of rain, 57 here. So there's a good chance of rain, 11-mile-an-hour winds. And everybody looks healthy, McCaffrey and everybody. So the question is, does rain does a warm rain, how does that affect the game? With 11-mile-an-hour winds, I think you got to be a little bit safer on your passes, which actually helps the Niners because Green Bay wants to throw more. I mean, it is a little bit harder to throw and catch a wet football than a dry football, of course. The wind won't be that big a factor, so it's just can they catch the ball? There's certain type of gloves you wear for it, so I think it'll affect it a little bit. And this is where McCaffrey comes in. You can just hand the ball off to him, and he should be okay. But we'll see. Probably a little bit more turnovers, and it'll depend where. Detroit, Tampa, Laporta's the only guy questionable. Godwin's fine now, and it's in a dome, so there's no weather. In KC, Buffalo, everybody's good except for Tony, who you don't care if he plays or not. 22 degrees out, nothing, no snow, and then 13-mile-an-hour winds, which is where it's been. And I don't think it'll really affect this game too much. It's cold, so you're not getting a wide open offense anyway. So I think in this situation, not a big effect. So if we break it down, we got Houston's an E team. They scored mid-20s, give up mid-20s. So not the greatest defense. Baltimore's an A team with a very strong offense and a very strong defense. However, it's Lamar, so you question the offense. Pretty big choker in playoff games. Stroud, big choker in college games. The two Michigans and the Georgia didn't show up, so not really sure what you get out of Stroud. So Stroud's the question mark. All right, he beat Cleveland, big deal. And Lamar's lost every game he's been in. So what do you get from Lamar? Okay, now you've gone to a new offensive coordinator, the guy on Georgia, they've been scoring a lot more points. Let's see if that translates to more offense without Lamar in these big games. Green Bay, also an even team, 24 defense. The Niners are the A team, 30-point offense, 20-point defense. In a similar game, they beat the Rams 30-23. Why do I say that? Because the Rams have the same offense as Green Bay and Miami and San Francisco. So they've seen the Rams offense twice. They know what they're getting here, and Green Bay won't be a surprise. And I think that, I just think the Niners are the better team. The balance of Purdy and McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel make them very tough to beat at home, and this killer defense. Green Bay beat Dallas. Not really a big deal in a playoff game. Everybody beats Dallas. Dallas with no quarterback and no running attack and no coach. The Niners have all three of those, although I question the coach. He's a little bit weird in the fourth quarter. But I think the Niners win with their defense, and we will see. But they just have the better team, and they're at home. And then the question is going to be the rain. It's going to rain all game or just a little bit, and then how does that really affect them? But I think if you know it's going to rain, you can adapt a little bit easier. You can adjust to it. Tampa, Detroit. Tampa, an under team. They don't score a lot. They give up 23 a game. Detroit is an over team. They score a lot and give up a lot. They got a very weak secondary. I'm a little bit confused with Tampa in the fact that they beat Green Bay and they needed to a couple of weeks ago, like 34-23 in Green Bay. And Mayfield had 4 touchdowns but then they beat Carolina 9-0 in the game they had to win. So which team are you going to get the team that scored 34 on a good Green Bay team, or are you going to get the team that scored 9 on a crap Carolina team that couldn't win a game in the Big Ten? I don't really know. This will be the answer. I think it's at Detroit. They tend to play it like a college game where they're all rah rah and excited. As we saw last week, they rah rah and excited the first half and were flat as hell in the second half. So if you depend on emotion, it only lasts so long, and when it goes, you're flat, and that's what they were last in the second half. So I think Detroit's the better team. They'll score more, but a weak defense. And Tampa, I hate their coach. So it's a very, I can't say I love Tampa to win like I can say I love Kansas City to win. So it's going to be hard with Tampa here. And then KC, Buffalo. KC's an under team. They're not scoring this year, but they have Mahomes. They have Pacheco. They have Kelsey. So they will find a way to win. Strong defense, very strong defense. I think it's this and Baltimore are the two best, right up there with the Niners. And then Buffalo is an A team. They score a lot. Their defense is okay. People tend to worry about injuries. I don't, because this is the NFL. It's not like college. Your backups are NFL players. So if a guy's injured, unless it's Mahomes and you don't have a good backup, you're pretty much okay. I mean, if a safety goes out, you get another safety. You get another linebacker. So I think they're overcompensating for the injuries. Some of these people I'm hearing. I'm not listening to, but in the car I'm forced to. So Buffalo is an A team, but Mahomes knows how to beat them. Mahomes won 2 Super Bowls, and Mahomes is the best player in the league. So next to Burrow, of course. So I think that in this situation, I like the dog. I think it's an even game. So in Baltimore, Houston, I think Baltimore is the better team if we can figure out how to use Lamar. Green Bay, the Niners are certainly the better team, especially at home, better defense. Tampa, Detroit's the better team because I don't think Tampa can take advantage of the weak secondary the way Jefferson did and the way CeeDee Lamb did, and last week the way Pukanuka. Anytime they wanted it, here's a 20-yard pass. So I don't think Tampa can take advantage of their weakness. And that's the whole thing about football is taking advantage of the weakness. KC, Buffalo, I think this game's dead even. So I like the dog there. So game 1, I got 31-20 Baltimore. Game 2, I got 34-24 Frisco. And we'll see what the rain does. Game 3, I got Detroit 27-17. Again, I don't think Tampa can take advantage of the weak secondary. And Detroit seems to score a lot. I mean, the Rams have a better defense, I think, than Tampa. And then I like the dog in the KC Buffalo game, figuring that it's Mahomes getting points. Now, I didn't see 8-1-1. I don't know what they're talking about. And I don't know if that was home and road. I saw a little different number, but then I look at the opening line and I go, oh, they're the dog, where they might look at the closing line or something. But anyway, for sure the KC Buffalo game, it goes down to the wire, and a typical one of those games. So 23-20 sounds about right. The cold didn't affect KC last week. They played they scored 26 on a weak Miami team. So Miami's one of these teams that they don't have a defense, and that's what I'm pointing out with the Lions. They're a lot like Miami in that they can score and they can't stop the wind. And I'm not sure how Houston and Green Bay are. New quarterbacks, terrible quarterback play here. Stroud, we have no idea. Judging by college, he won't show up. Lamar, we know, doesn't show up. Love, we have nothing from college because he played at Utah State. He's been on the bench 2 years. I don't know. And then Purdy, we have a pretty good idea. Last year, he played pretty well. And in the big games during the year, the Niners, the Philly game, he shows up. So I can trust Purdy. Mayfield, he beat Ohio State once. Okay, that's his claim to fame. Otherwise, he doesn't show up. Golf chokes. We saw him choke in the Super Bowl, choke in some playoff games, choke in college. Not sold on this guy. Mahomes, It's Mahomes and Burrow, the money quarterbacks that you bet anytime they're the dog. And then Josh Allen, he doesn't show up a lot. He'll get stats, and you guys get confused thinking look, he threw a 20-yard pass. He's a good quarterback. Yeah, but when you blitz him, he's not a good quarterback, is he? I read an article now we know how to beat Jalen Hurts, just blitz him. Well, duh, you blitz any of these guys except for Lamar and Burrow, you're going to be in trouble. And Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Purdy can get away with it, but otherwise you blitz Josh Allen, he's going to be 6 of 35 and 5 interceptions. And the same thing, I'm sure with Stroud and I'm sure with Lamar. We saw that one Miami game. They blitzed him every play. They got shut out, and then nobody else does it. I mean, they can't read blitzes, so they can't get out of it. And when they get to the line, they don't know what they're doing with those. So you see them go back to pass, and they hold the ball. Then they got to dance around, and then we play street ball. Stroud does that all the time. That's not good. No, good is Mahomes going back, kind of shifting and hitting the guy down the field, not running out to the right and not, he knows what he's going to do with the ball before he snaps it. The Bradys, the Rodgers, the Montanas, those are the guys that are good quarterbacks. They know what to do with the ball before they get it. Half of us are clueless. Lamar, he has no idea. Maybe the plays to throw to the tight end in the right flat, but can he read it before he hikes the ball that's covered? No, I can't throw it there. Oh shit! Now what do I do? Well, I'll run around and maybe run or, look for somebody else to get open and wait till I see him open. And 5 seconds later, he's there. I don't know why they're not blitzing Lamar. I don't know what they're afraid of. He can't read. He certainly can't read his second and third reads. This is what I'm talking about, not how pretty they throw the ball like Tagliabue, who, oh, by the way, lost another big game. That's 2 straight, losing to Buffalo and then losing the playoff game to Kansas City, and not even close. It was 26-7. I mean, they weren't even there. So, teams like Miami, Detroit, they always go for the offense, and they think that'll sell tickets, but we'll look good, but we really can't win without a defense. You must have a strong defense. So right now, the strongest defense, Baltimore and Frisco and Buffalo and Kansas City. That's it. Not Tampa, Detroit. They won't go anywhere. Green Bay, 24 defense isn't going anywhere. And Houston, 22, I doubt's going anywhere. They might be able to beat Baltimore because Lamar's such a bad quarterback and can't win a playoff game, so they might beat him because of that. This is unclear. Outside of that, I'm not sure. I don't think they have a chance against KC or Buffalo. If Buffalo does beat KC, they'll kill Houston. But Baltimore is different because their quarterback sucks, and they might be able to sneak a win in, but I don't know. Again, they're getting the best break because Lamar's, it's a playoff game. I got to choke. So that's the only other thing. But the league is so bad right now. The quarterback, all right, Stafford won a Super Bowl last week. Flacco won it 20 years ago. And then you had Kyle Rudolph and Dak Prescott will never win a playoff game. So you got a lot of bad quarterbacks out there, and you got a lot of bad coaching out there. You got a lot of bad defensive coaching out there. Let's play to the soft, too deep zone, and we let everybody catch the ball for 20-yard gains. And then when they get to the red zone, you lose that room because of the end zone, so we'll stop them at the 10-yard line. What kind of fucking defense is that? So it's just pure insanity out there, how bad the coaching is in the league. The head coaches are horrible. I would not pick up Bill Belichick. For all the money in China, I wouldn't pick him up. He's not a good coach. He's the GOAT. No, Brady's the GOAT. He didn't win anything with Brady. He didn't win at Cleveland. He didn't win at the Jets. And he's not winning here without Brady. So to say he's this great coach is a bunch of bullshit. If he was a great coach the last 2 years, he would have won. He wouldn't have even had Mac Jones on the team, and he certainly would have been able to see Mac Jones sucks, as we pointed out last year that he sucks, and we couldn't understand why he didn't start Zappy week 1. And then he finally gets to him at the end. Mac Jones is terrible. He was the best of the Alabama quarterbacks, though. He was better than Tagliavoa and better than Hurts. And he's certainly better than Steve Young here at Carolina. So you have to look at those. Alabama's a system. Ohio State's a system. Fields, goodbye. If I'm the Bears, I got the number 1 pick. It's going to be Caleb or it's going to be Bo Nix, and that's it. Maybe Penix. I love when people are talking about Penix that he was hurt. He had knee surgery. He looked pretty fucking good beating Oregon 2 times this year. I didn't see him limping around that game or couldn't complete a pass. I don't know what the fuck these people are talking about. Oh, he had an injury. Well, wait till you see Cam Rising next year if the doctor will let him play. Then you want to see a superstar. He's my first pick in the draft next year, as long as he can play. Now you can say he's old or he's got knee problems. Fuck you. This guy's fucking winner. He's a great quarterback. Absolutely. He hurt his knee in the USC game last year or 2 years ago now, and it just hasn't recovered. And then he hurt it again in the Rose Bowl. But anyway, he's the best, Cam Rising. Other guys like Hartman and Daniels from LSU. I'd hate to see him go to the Bears and get wasted. I'd like to see him go to a decent team. And then you got like the Lions with Hooker. What are you waiting for? He's a lot better than golf. And then you got Hayner at New Orleans. Okay, let Carr have another year. And then you have Stenson Benson. I don't know what his problem was at the Rams. He was didn't play at all last year. I don't know what was going on with that. He's a good quarterback. And then Thompson Robinson at Cleveland's very good. So again, the decision of which quarterback, Mayfield shouldn't be starting for Tampa. I'd have Trask out there. Again, I saw him play at Florida. The guy's a superstar. So I don't know what you're doing with Mayfield. He hasn't done shit. He beat Philadelphia last week. Oh boy. So I don't know. We will see more, but these coaches are idiots. So that's what I think of the NFL. So again, we start with Houston, Baltimore. I got Baltimore 31-20. I think they start slow. You got 16-mile-an-hour winds. You don't have rain. Lamar 24-7, touchdowns to interceptions, and Stroud I've updated as 26-5. But again, you're also playing the Baltimore defense. I think Stroud will be lucky to finish the game. I think he's going to get banged up pretty good. Then we got the night game, Green Bay and Frisco. Frisco 34-24. Love against Purdy. Love 35-11. Purdy 31-11. And you got 11-mile-an-hour winds and a high chance of rain out there. So depends how heavy the rain is. Is it a downpour? Is it just light rain? How long does it last? The wind certainly won't be a factor. And if they have to, they'll just run the ball a little bit more. But the rain doesn't really hurt an over or an under. It's not like you can't move in the rain. You can't move in 3 feet of snow, and you can't move in 25-mile-an-hour winds. But I think in the rain, they'll be okay. Tampa, Detroit, you have no wind. You got Mayfield 31-10, Goff 31-12. Not too good. To me, the quarterbacks have over 35 touchdowns. My biggest pet peeve is it's now 17 weeks. So you hear these announcers, the guy ran for 1,000 yards. Yeah, that was with 12 games. There was a big deal to run for 1,000 yards. It's 17 games. It's not a big deal. Maybe now to run 1,500 yards is a big deal. but not that. And then these guys are so stupid. They don't understand. You've got 17 games. You can't compare it to 10 or 12 or 14. Used to be 12, then it changed to 14, and that was a big deal. I don't like 17. I think it's too many games. I think the four exhibitions you should be playing your players in it. I think it only hurts the teams when they play 3 and they don't play their players because they're afraid to get hurt. They all should be playing tennis, I guess. I don't get it. I've never heard this I'm afraid to get hurt crap. You're playing football. You're going to get hurt. You're going to hit and be hit. I don't know what the fuck is going on here. This is what happens. Oh, let's rest them. He might get hurt. Oh, fuck. Are they driving a car? They might get in a car accident. Maybe they shouldn't drive. Maybe they should just sit at home and stay in bed the whole fucking day because they might get hurt. What the fuck is this? This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what these teams are doing. I don't know what the coaches are doing. I don't know who's telling them don't play your starters in the preseason. Let's watch them all get hurt in the first couple of weeks because they're not in condition to play 60 minutes of football because it's all running and they're not in condition for it. So I don't really get anything what they're doing. I don't get these stupid defenses. Let's play a 2-deep zone and we'll let them catch 20-yard passes until they get into the red zone, and then they won't have room. So, we'll get them then. What the fuck? Finally, somebody blitzed last week. They blitzed. Give Tampa Bay credit. They blitzed Hurts and worked. They won. But they should do the same thing to Goff, and he'll turn it over 4 times. That's the secret is blitzing. So we'll see if they continue to do it. Mahomes, he's on. Okay, so we did Goff and Mayfield. Mahomes 28-14, and Allen. Now here's the big problem with Allen: 32-18. 18 picks is a problem. That's what I don't like about Allen. You guys think he runs a lot? Who gives a shit? 32-18. Mahomes 28-14. And Mahomes is it, but a lot of Mahomes is the hits the receiver in the hands. He can't catch. The ball pops up, and the defensive guy gets a gift interception. Well, wait, that's a lot of Mahomes' interceptions. Is that bullshit? So he's had a few bad games, the Denver game, the Green Bay game, but this is a playoff game, and I don't anticipate it. So, yeah, I know people, he doesn't look right or they don't look right. That's because they're a different team. They're much more defensive. Their defense is a killer defense, which they never had before. And Mahomes and Kelsey, and they'll do enough that Mahomes will run around, find an open receiver. Hopefully he catches it now because it's the playoffs and doesn't bat it up for interceptions. And he'll get you enough to win the game. And that's what Mahomes does. He wins the game. He's not I'm not worried about him getting blown out. It's that. All right, so that's the NFL, the draft coming up. Your top 5 players. The top running backs, Ali Gordon from Oak State. Your top player, your top quarterback is going to be between Daniels, Hartman, Bo Nix, and Penix. Caleb, I'm worried about because it looks like it's all the system. We've seen Kyler Murray in the system. Where did he disappear to? He's just fast. We've seen Hurts in the system. Where did he go? And now we see some Mike Miller backup throw for 6 touchdowns, and you're wondering, oh, is he that good? I mean, how good is Caleb? I mean, if Mac Miller comes in and throws 6 touchdowns against a pretty good Louisville defense, then what the fuck? That's where it's the system. And so now I'm worried about Caleb. Is he really that good, or is he just it's the Oklahoma system again? So we will see that. So I would take Daniels or Penix, Bo Nix, or Hartman ahead of that. So those 4 are better. I don't understand this Drake May guy, why he's not even a first-round draft pick. And this is the difference between me and the rest of these morons. Oh, let's take Kenny Pickett. How about Mitch Trubisky? I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? Because I'm looking at how they do in college and big games and their stats. Mitch Trubisky and Pickett had no business being drafted at all. And you can see why. Lamar was not he was a end of the first round pick. He's not a quarterback. Mahomes, you didn't really see coming, although he did have good stats at Texas Tech, but you thought, well, that's just the system. Anybody from Alabama, Ohio State, or now with this USC system, you just discount. They're not good. It's a system thing. But when you get Hartman and Van Dyke and Bo Nix and Williams or Daniels from LSU, you go, these are good quarterbacks. Hartman's the best, just because of what he did at Wake Forest. He just lit it up. And when he got to Notre Dame, the offensive coordinator had no idea what to do. I find there's a lot of bad offensive coordinators who are made for these running quarterbacks, not the really good ones like a Hartman, like an Aaron Rodgers, like, Joe Burrow. He would struggle with these offensive coordinators. So I like how Buffalo picked up Joe Burrow's offensive coordinator from college. Like, it was the offensive coordinator, not Burrow, Chase, and Jefferson. It wasn't them. It was the offensive coordinator. Like, really? You've got the best three players at their position in 20 years, and you want to think it's the offensive coordinator? Jesus Christ. Sorry, fellas. Yeah, it's like the New England offensive coordinators. Yeah, look at what he did for Brady. No, the other way around. That's the problem with it. So they'll fuck up in the draft. Whoever takes Drake May, I'm warning you, it'll be another Pickett or Trubisky. Maybe Pittsburgh will take Drake May, and then they can have another sucky quarterback. And if he goes in the first 5 picks, that team will lose every game like Carolina. I warned you that Carolina, I also thought Indy and Houston would not win any games this year with those quarterbacks. Richardson gets hurt because he doesn't understand this is pros and not college. And I don't know what he was doing or if he got hurt on purpose so he didn't have to play. I don't know. And then you had, C.J. Stroud. I'm not buying into him. We'll see. For me, he's all it's just playground. So we'll see. I don't know. Houston, to me, is nothing, but we'll see. They don't have the defense to really be anything. So we'll see what it is. But he's an Ohio State quarterback, so I can't get behind him. I don't like the Michigan quarterback, McCarthy. I think you draft that guy at all, I think it's a big mistake. The Michigan running back, I think, would be a good – he's probably 4th or 5th in the list after Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon from Oak State's the first. So you got a team, well, the Bears should trade Fields, and then with the one pick – well, with the one pick, they should, let's say they take Daniels, then trade Fields, and then their next pick take Ollie Gordon or something. Or Carolina needs an Ollie Gordon, but they need defense. They need a coach. Them in Washington, these coaches are so bad. It's just, I mean, that's the biggest problem is the coaching in the league is so bad. The defensive coordinators have their heads way up their ass. They don't know what they're doing. And the offensive coordinators all look the same. We're going to run the same play. Let's run that wide receiver screen to lose 4 yards every time. That seems like a great play. That works 1 in 100. Just terrible coaching. You need more guys like Mahomes and Burrow, like call their own plays, see what's there, and they make the plays happen. And it's just not what you get with these other guys. Purdy, he looks good. These, Stafford looks much better than he ever did. And Lamar, we'll see today. I mean, I like 31-20 today, so let's see if Lamar does that. I mean, he should, but let's see if he does, if he can. Hopefully he will. Excuse me. We'll see. So it's a lot like now Stroud and Love are rookies, so we don't know anything about them. Mayfield's terrible and Goff's terrible, So you really have weak quarterbacks in the league. And it's just really bad drafting. They don't know what they're looking at, or they got like Hooker on the bench at the line. Why isn't he playing? He's much better than Goff. Why aren't you playing Stenson Benson and the Rams? Okay, Stafford's okay, but he should have played that last week. But I must have some injury or something. I don't know what's going on with Bennett. But you got Trask at Tampa Bay. Why isn't he playing? The guy's fucking superstar, and you got Mayfield there. It's this bad coaching. Good coaches are insecure, and they go, well, he's played before. And they can't see the guy in practice is really good. Like Kurt Warner. They had no idea about Kurt Warner. And they had Tim Green from Indiana who sucked. So Green gets injured. Now you got to put in Warner. Warner should have been the starter from the get-go. Warner should have been in the league 5 years earlier. But what are you doing? You don't even understand talent. So you stick with a guy who has experience, like a Blake Gabbert, who's terrible. You'll rather play him because he's played before than this superstar like Trask on Tampa, but we don't know. Or my other guy, Greer at I don't know where he's at. He was at Dallas. Now he's moved on. And then Dallas takes Trey Lance. You get rid of Greer for Trey Lance. What the fuck do you have Trey Lance for? What in God's name can you possibly see that Trey Lance is any good? He played 1 year of Division II as a freshman and that's it. And then he played for the Niners one game and got hurt. What do you see in this guy that makes you want to take him over Will Grier, who, threw 50 touchdowns at Florida or West Virginia? I mean, it's like, wow, unbelievable. So they don't look at college for some reason. I don't really get it. Although they look at college when they need to take it. Like Lamar, if you looked at him in college, you wouldn't have drafted him at all. He had one good game against Florida State, and then Clemson played him and beat him 27-0, and Duke played him and beat him like 24-0. And it was like, so why would you draft the guy? He can't throw the ball. So this is just insane. This is such a bad league right now. So what you do with a bad league, you look for defense. Okay, so we're betting defense. Baltimore, Frisco, Kansas City, and then that's it. And you look for quarterbacks. Okay, we'll play Mahomes. We'll play Purdy. We'll run from Lamar, and we'll run from Goff and Mayfield. So that's all you can do. That's how you lose bets, is betting weak defenses. So Detroit, I don't know what you do with them. I got them winning because Tampa's bad, but when I looked at the stats, Tampa's 8-0 as a road dog. The real play in this game is Tampa as a road dog. They are very strong as a road dog, but Detroit scares me because they play it like a college team. They get all emotional and they jump on you, and it's like an old Nebraska game where they put up a 50 on you. So Detroit's scary. I think they choke, but we'll see. I don't love Detroit. Excuse me. Don't really love Detroit here. I think Tampa is a live dog in the game, especially at 7 points. You get 13. I think that's live. I think Detroit might win by a field goal. Excuse me. I don't know why. I only sneeze when I'm on camera here. Um, so the real teaser trends here. Green Bay is a real strong road dog, but Frisco's a real strong home favorite. There's no trend on Houston because I can't go back. I can only use this year because Stroud didn't play last year. Even Green Bay, I can only really go this year, but they are a strong road dog because Love wasn't there last year. And this is the problem I'm having with my trends. So I have to develop other ways of handicapping. And that's where I am. I step out. This is where I'm head and shoulders above everybody. They'll still look at the trends or they'll make their own lines or they'll say, oh, this is this. They have no fucking clue. I use teaser trends, but because I bet teasers, but they don't work because Love has only been there a year. You can't use Aaron Rodgers trends and Stroud. You can't use whoever was Houston's quarterback. Lamar we can use. Purdy we can use a year and a half. Golf we can use 2 years. Mayfield 2 years. Mahomes we can go 5. And Josh Allen we can go 5. So on those two, but we already got it. Kansas City is a dog. We don't need a trend for that. We can just look at the things. So I'm kind of developing more, let's play the defense, which is very successful. So I've kind of jumped. I'm very good at kind of looking, let's test this. No, it doesn't work. Let's test this. Hey, this does work. And that's what I'm very good at. But I understand the game so well. And I think that's the difference. I've been doing this. Really, I remember betting. I remember watching the Ice Bowl. I don't remember betting it. I do remember betting the Miami-Dallas Super Bowl 1970. I don't think I bet the Baltimore Jet Super Bowl. And I'm not recalling the KC Minnesota Super Bowl, but I did bet the Dallas Miami one. And but I mean, back then the unders were gold because teams ran the ball and played defense. It was beautiful. But I don't recall looking for over-unders, more the team. But the Steelers, I mean, the first 4 or 5 years were probably under every game with that defense. And then as they got Swan and Stallworth, they just became A teams. The Niners were very you just bet the Niner. You just bet Montana. You just bet Lawrence Taylor. I mean, it was very easy back then. Jimmy Johnson at Miami. I love that one. So that's football. Let's talk bankrolls. So how much can you afford to lose? This is a critical point. What do you have? Well, I can lose $5,000. Okay. You can lose 10 grand. Okay. But if you can't lose 10 grand, you can't bet 10 grand worth. So your bet should be in contingent with your bankroll. So if your bankroll is 5,000, you're probably betting 50 a game, but you don't want to bet 50 a game. You want to bet 500 a game, but you don't have the bankroll to do that. You do have the ability, if you buy my picks, to play my locks. That's your $150 game. 150. Here's the professor's lock. I'll bet 150 on that. Last week's lock was Kansas City under against Miami and Detroit over with the Rams. So that lock you would have bet more on. That one. So you're betting 50 a game. Here's the lock, 150. So you want to bet more, but you got to know when to bet the more. That's what I tell you. That's why I grade the teams. I want you to bet more on the lock than on the regular games. But your bankroll, the goal is to increase your bankroll. So you go from 5,000 to 10,000. And as you're increasing your bets and you're winning more. But when you're losing, you're decreasing your bets and you're trying to lose as little as possible while you're trying to win as much as possible. Now, since we don't really know what's going to happen, we have a very good idea, and we do it at 75% of the time. I can tell you, like Kansas City in 8.5, 75 out of 100 times when I get a game like that, it wins. So I can tell you that, and it's easy to find a second teaser. I mean, there's teasers all over the place. I'm betting all 4 games. It's not hard to find the second half of it. I hate that excuse. Well, if I bet it straight, I only got to win 1 bet. But if I tease it, I got to win 2. Oh, yeah. Like you're not betting 2 games. And, it's so much easier to take Kansas City in 8.5 versus 2.5. The odds on you winning KC in 8.5 are probably 98%. The odds on you with 2.5 are maybe 55, 60%. It's a huge difference getting, not only that, you're getting over a touchdown with Mahomes. So this is the fallacy of people saying, well, I only have to win 1. Yeah. Oh, it's really hard to take KC in 8.5 and win with it. Now I got to find a second one with the 6-point helper. So I'm going to do that 75% of the time. Plus, when I get a game like this Kansas City game, I play it in two or three teasers. And that's the other part of it, because I'm trying to increase my bankroll. So I play it small, but I keep playing it. So, yeah, you might play $100 teasers. So on the Kansas City one, you might play it twice for $100, and then you might play the Baltimore one once for $50. If you're still at 5,000, hopefully you've gone up. I know I'm way up this year. You should have went and increased your bankroll. So now you're betting more. I know I have. I started with like 7 units, and now my lowest play is 17 units, and most of them are 17 or 21 units. And then I just exchanged. So I increased my units, which increases the size of my bet. And that's what happens. So you're increasing the size of your bet, and as you're winning, and then if you start losing, you lower it back down. But the difference is here in like blackjack, it's independent. You don't know. You're getting new cards every hand. There's no trend you can really use. You can count cards. Okay, there's more 10s coming out than small cards. Does that mean you're going to win? No, because the dealer is playing too. And the edge is you bust first. So what do you do when you get a 15 and the deck's heavy and he's got a 10 showing? You're going to hit every time. You're going to go over every time. How does that help you? So it doesn't really. Like, what do you think? You're going to get 20s every hand, and what's the dealer going to get? The dealer's going to get 20s also. So I don't see any advantage to really card counting. I believe in streaks. So if I'm playing blackjack, I'll increase my bet as I win, but I don't care. I'm not counting the cards. Anyway, so that's what you're looking at is money management, is to increase your bankroll. So then as it goes up, now it's 10,000, or maybe you're a $20,000 player. You bet accordingly. So let's say you're a $20,000 bankroll, you probably want to bet 500 a game. You never let one game beat you. I really hated that. I had customers before, and they'd say, "Oh, I got a big bet on Clemson," and I'm like, "But I didn't give you Clemson. What the fuck are you betting Clemson for?" "Oh, your other handicapper gave you Clemson, and and it's losing." And now you're crying, "Oh, there goes all my, I don't have any money. I lost this big bet on Clemson." What a bunch of bullshit. I don't believe that for a minute, that you even bet Clemson, because if I didn't give it out, why are you betting other games? And why are you betting it strong if it's not on my radar? Or why aren't you asking me, if I'm your handicapper, what do you think of the Clemson game? I got a tip on it from somebody else. I don't care if you use other guys. I know I'm the best, so I don't care. You can use whoever you want. You can watch ESPN. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. They don't get it. You're not going to make money with them. They're selling you the picks they want you to pick, because the bookies are all attached to football now, the BetMGMs and the FanDuel. So they need money on Kansas City. They'll tell you, "Oh, yeah, Kansas City's a good play." It's such bullshit, but don't listen to that, right? So you listen to that crap and you end up losing, and you're wondering, why am I losing? Because You're listening to the idiots and you don't know why you're betting the games. It's just like I tell you with gold and money. You've got to understand what you're doing and why. So you got a $25,000 bankroll. You're probably betting 500 to 1,000 a game, 1,000 on the locks probably. And then your goal is to get it to 30 to 35 to 40. That's how you bet. It's money management. It's building your bankroll. And when you find the lock, why do I give locks out? Because I'm 98% sure it's going to win. Plus, I put it in 2 or 3 teasers. So you've got bigger teasers to bet. Now you can bet 1,000 on the locks and put it in 3 or 4 bets. And then these other little games, your Clemsons, you bet $500 on. And then you clean up on the locks and the big bets. Some weeks I have 8 locks and all 8 will win. Sometimes I go 6 and 2. But that's the point of it, is when I feel really strongly on a bet, I bet it harder. I bet it for more money and in multiple teasers, because I've already got that game won. I've already got this game won. So last week it was Kansas City under, had it in 2 or 3 teasers. Alabama against Michigan, getting 7.5, had it in 5 teasers. Because every week I'd get a pro game and I'd go, well, let's put it with Alabama. Then the next week, well, let's put this with Alabama. And so I had the games with Alabama, and they all were winning. So I had 5 with Alabama, which is exactly what you want to do when you get a team like Alabama as a dog, is the same as Kansas City here today. You got Kansas City as the dog. You had Alabama. These are like gold. I mean, these are very rare to see. You got to take advantage of it. Buffalo's not a better team than Kansas City. Just like Michigan wasn't a better team than Alabama. And they proved it. They should have won the game if Milrose doesn't fumble. Michigan got lucky. Georgia wasn't in it, and Oregon wasn't in it, or they would never have won the title. They could never have beaten Georgia. So it's just you see that, and that's what happens. But that's the key to anything, is money management. Stocks, bonds, gold, whatever you're investing in. You start off small, you start making money, then you invest more. But you got to be careful of these scams, as I talk about in my economics videos, where they're promising you're going to get rich and then they scam you, like Madoff, like whoever that Ben Friedman guy is. This other crypto queen will get rich. Oh yeah, but I don't even have one coin. It's just made up. It's not real. But I just scammed $15 billion out of the Russian mafia and other people, who, by the way, are hunting her down and will kill her. But I don't do that. I don't give you a get rich scheme. I'm telling you exactly what to do. Bet a little bit and increase your bankroll. Bankroll gets increased, you bet more. So instead of 50 a game, you're 75 a game or 100 a game. And you're winning and winning and increasing your bankroll, increasing your bet size. At the end of the day, you're betting 500 a game. Your bankrolls went from $5,000 to $20,000. And now when you lose a $500 bet, doesn't matter. And if you win one, now you're increasing the bankroll. That's how you're supposed to do it. That's how a professional in poker or in football or sports betting, or if I were to play poker or blackjack, it's all the same. You bet what you can afford to lose. You figure out your bet. When I play blackjack, for example, I like playing $5 because I'm going to bet the streak, right? So I want to bet 5, but at the end I'm betting 200 a hand. And I want to have a chance to play so I would play, I'd take out $60, so I'd have 12 hands at $5 a hand. So I could have 12 chances to catch a streak. And then I'd probably play $500 for the day. So that would give me 10 times to catch a streak at the $5 table. I don't like the $50 table because it's too much. I don't have $5,000 to waste on blackjack, and they fuck the odds up and everything else. So I don't do it. But that's what I would do at that. Same thing at craps. At poker, I play 300, 1-2, no limit, and I'll bet the way the cards fall, the way the other players are. When I need to go all in, I go all in. When I need to bluff, I bluff. When I got the hand and I need to check because I got 4 10s, I check. I play very professionally, but if I lose the 300, I get up and walk. I might come back. It depends. If I'm in Vegas, I'll play. If I lose, I'll go take a walk, go to the mall, have a dinner, and then come back and play 300 2 or 3 times that day, hoping to win. But that's what you do. You limit yourself. You can't just keep going. There has to be a strategy and a money strategy in everything. So you're always kind of being, you meet a new girl, you put a limit on it and see until you get to know her. That's the thing. You just, everything you kind of do slow and look and feel it. And then you start, so football, it's 500 or 1,000 or a $5,000, but you'll get to 100 if you just keep, okay, we're up to 10, we're up to 15. Next year you got 15 and you get it up to 30. And then the next year you start at 30, you get it up to 60. And that's how you do it. Before you know it, you're betting $100,000 a game and you started at 5 because, because you got me, but you know how to bet these games. And I am very, very fucking good at it. So that's what you're looking for. So you go to these other handicappers and I know what you're doing. And I just laugh going, look, there's only maybe be in the world that actually knows how to read and analyze a football game to pick the winner. That's it. There's not more than 10 of me. You found one. Call me like a savant or something. That's what I am. I'm an INFJ, so I'm intuitive and psychic, and I analyze very well, so I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for defense. But I can even analyze the quarterback. I can analyze the coach. I don't want to bet a lot on Lamar today, so I didn't bet Baltimore. I bet the game over. I don't want anything to do with Baltimore. Lamar can't win and Stroud can't win, so somebody's going to win, but I can't. I'm hoping that the Georgia coach is making Lamar look good, right? As what happens a lot. When the offensive coordinator goes, so goes the team. Look at Philadelphia, right? Good offensive coordinator goes to Indy, and now Philadelphia's offense looks like shit, and their defense looks like shit. So all of a sudden it changes, and you got to analyze that. But that's what you look at. So I know that's what my skill is. And I have that over, like I said, there's maybe 10 of me in the world. That's it. There's not a lot of me out there. It's in the middle of this critical point. So the problem is you'll hear ESPN guys or radio guys tell you about certain things, and who the fuck knows? You have no idea. You just hear it and you listen to it because you're naive, and that's what happens with a lot of finance and stocks and Bitcoins and that crypto queen. She didn't even have one coin, and then people are listening and gave her $16 billion, and it wasn't even a product. You're just fucking buying it because she's selling it. I mean, it's like, oh my God. At least I got KC Buffalo. I'm telling you, take Kansas City an 8.5 and a teaser. And there's a real game, and I'm not getting anything. You're betting it. So I hate people like that. Even Madoff, I don't really care. He actually did pay you. So even if you're in Madoff's Ponzi scheme and you don't know anything about it, but you're getting this monthly amount in, okay, fine. I mean, but what's the difference between that and the 2008 financial crisis where everybody got fucked on real estate trust? So I'd rather be in Madoff. At least he paid. I mean, these real estate trusts just blindsided you. Oh, yeah, it's worth nothing. What do you mean it's worth nothing? The houses still are out there. So you got to be careful. You really got to understand, or at least ask questions to try to understand. like I said, when I was in Berlin a little while ago, my friend wanted to know more about gold. And I'm telling her as I teach you. And she says, where did you learn this from? Because I'm trying to find out to learn about it, and I can't. And I says, I got a master's in it. I learned in my college program. My teacher was an Austrian economist. Really nice guy. Great teacher. You could understand and follow. And he taught me. And, so I didn't learn it from anywhere, just that. And maybe you read Adam Smith. But that's how I learned it. But I learned it good because I do look at, I'll do search on Austrian economics and they just poo-poo it now because it's a Keynesian world. So it's like, let's think of the Nazis. So you have the Nazis running Germany. They don't want you to understand Austrian economics or freedom or democracy. They are very much painting the picture of how good the Nazis are, and and they were horrible people, but it was all propaganda. And that's what you have with the Keynesians. They don't want you to learn about Austrian economics and to buy gold. So you can't find it anywhere. So just be careful with that. So what I teach you is absolutely what I do, what I believe in, and you should take heart into that. So with that said, 4 games today. The 3:30 game, it is on ABC. So you got Baltimore 31-20. You got Frisco 34-24 today. A little bit of rain there. Detroit 27-17 and Kansas City 23-20. Those are your games today. I'm going to show a real quick clip. This is about the Ukraine war ending. All right, so this is Alligator. So what he says is the army of Ukraine has gone to Putin and they've signed this ending the war. It's kind of an unofficial thing, but they're trying to do it. So I'm going to show you this.
Ukraine basically will end up, it's the armies are talking to each other now, not the politicians. Zelensky is cut out of it. They will come to an agreement, and I think the agreement, quite simple, agrees with it, that Russia will get those, call an end to this on the back of that, and they're quite happy to do that. They won't start saying things about Nick.
She's texting me in the middle, and I'll replay this.
Which was his first act. Guess what? Ukraine basically will end up. It's the armies are talking to each other. Now, not the politicians. Zelensky is cut out of it. They will come to an agreement, and I think the agreement, quite simply, and as I understand it, this has already been floated across Putin, and he agrees with it, that Russia will get those Eastern Donbass. They will get those. They will effectively, call an end to this on the back of that, and they're quite happy to do that. They won't start, saying things about NATO's got to get out. No. Politicians are out of this. So Biden is going to, having abandoned Afghanistan, which was his first act on becoming president, he's now going to be chucked out of. They're trying to keep quiet about that, but that's actually what is happening. How do we get out of this without anybody noticing is basically what they're saying in the White House. And at the same time, you've now got this Israeli situation, which is getting completely out of control. Blinken's running around the Far East trying desperately to get, this thing cooled down with no success whatsoever. And I think, unfortunately for him, the respect that he's getting from his interlocutors around the Middle East, I think he's just getting less and less and less. That's all that's happening. Guess what? Ukraine basically will end up.
So there you have it. basically the war is over unofficially. Putin signed off with the military of the Ukraine. Are now going out, you know. So they are now, Jesus, Jen is going crazy. All right. Anyway, so there you have it, the war over. But of course, you're not going to hear it on the news because the White House is running around trying to not look like idiots, which they look at, because this war was about the U.S. against Russia. They didn't want Russia to go on the gold standard. That was the point of this war, bottom line, and nothing to do with anything else. Russia killed us 72-0, basically, and they left the poor Ukrainians to fight our war, which is really incredibly stupid and really terrible. They lost 500,000 soldiers, the Ukrainians. So anyway, so it looks like the war has ended, but not officially. But Putin did sign something, so hopefully we'll hear more about it. But the White House doesn't want to have egg all over their face, so they're not. They're just trying to say, how do we get out of this without looking like idiots? But they always look like idiots, these politicians. So basically, it was the defense contractors who wanted to make sales, started the war and wouldn't finish the war. Putin wanted to end the war a year ago. So with that said, I'm hoping to be able to fly to Russia, but I don't know when they're going to open everything up and allow U.S. citizens to get visas, if I could even do that. So we will see. Anyway, so I wanted to point that news. I will do an economic video where we're going to go more into that. There's one other thing I want to show you on silver.
And 40, and when you get
All right, so I'm going to share Alistair's thoughts on silver, and then I'll clean it up.
Shane, we have a lot of people, obviously, who are buying gold as a protection. Yeah. And so your thoughts on silver as a transactional medium, for example? Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is that silver seems to me to be a thoroughly rigged market. It is the best conductor. It is, I think, more than lithium almost, the must-have metal for, this fossil-free future, for all the power generation, the solar panel, whatever. Silver is going to continue to be in huge, huge demand. The way that this price rigging works, it seems to me, is that the big buyers, the processors, as it were, they will take silver direct from the mines in the form of doré. And I think China is probably guilty of this. I mean, when I say guilty, of course, this is the way they would do it to get the best value out of it, because it is essentially an industrial metal. I mean, it's been demonetized. It was demonetized basically in the wake of the Franco-Prussian War in the 1870s. Which is why instead of the gold-silver ratio being in the region of sort of 15, we're now looking at close to 90. But the way in which this works is that doré and even silver bars are delivered in quantity, not through the market, but by going directly to the producers and queuing up. And then they do the same with gold as well, incidentally. Queuing up and then, if you like, paying a price which depends on the paper market. And guess what? You can rig the paper market and keep the price down.
This, this is actually a problem throughout the entire commodity complex. It's just that it's more visible with silver than almost anything else. People think that markets are efficient and they work and all the rest of it. You're looking at the prices being set by the marginal demand and supply. But if the demand and supply isn't actually going through the market, and the demand and supply in the market is purely for paper, then this is not necessarily the correct price. The other thing I would say is that silver, while it has been demonetarized officially, I mean, you won't get a central bank accumulating silver as part of its reserves. That's really what I mean. But it has always been, if you like, regarded as the metal, the money for smaller quantities. And I think in English law, going back to the 19th century, we were looking at something like silver was acceptable money for amounts of under £10. So that's the sort of relationship that it has with gold. And on that basis, I think that as the paper, our fiat currency system comes under attack, then we will see a tendency for people to, if you like, begin to price some moneyness back into silver. And it tends to be twice as volatile, roughly, as gold. So if the gold price is going up, in other words, paper is going into the toilet, I think you'll find that the price of silver will probably go up almost twice as quickly. We need to, I think, conquer this $2,000 level in gold. Once we're clear of that, I think the world and his wife is going to turn around and say, we haven't got any gold. What's going on? Should we have some? What's it all about? Why? Yeah. And, they don't want to miss the boat. They don't, and they probably sold it. They probably sold it at, say, 1880, which you mentioned earlier, or whatever. I mean, if you're Gordon Brown, you sold it at $250. But anyway, we'll pass over that one. Well, I mean, look, he's a Keynesian. He was taught his Keynesian economics by who was the chap who was his chancellor, ex-Goldman Sachs guy, who's now anyway.
Yes, I know who you mean.
Ed Balls, that's it. Ed Balls. Ed Balls. Who used to write. He used to write for the Financial Times. He was, along with that guy Wolf. He was just absolute Keynesian. Denied Say's law. The whole thing. And that's where Gordon Brown got it all from. So that's why he sold gold at $250. And that's why he sold the IMF in the wake of the great financial crisis, to reduce its gold, to give the proceeds to countries which had suffered from the great financial crisis, like sort of emerging markets and all the rest of it. And they sold it, most of it, to India. But anyway, that's by the by. So, where can one go with all this? I mean, I hate the idea of a collapse of fiat currencies, Andrew, because it is going to impact on everybody. But the longer this goes on, the worse the whole situation is. We're losing our freedoms, which are all part of the suppression, if you like, of the symptoms of, the mess that governments are creating.
Absolutely. So in English, what he's saying is silver's price fixed, which we know. Gold is price fixed, but not as much because of the Basel III, where they say if you do keep the price down, you have to have the actual gold to back it up, which there's only so much gold, so they can't keep shorting the thing. So what happens is in COMEX, you got your JP Morgan shorting with derivatives, not real money, and lowering the prices. These guys go to the mines to buy gold and silver from the gold mines, and the silver mines, they're paying COMEX price for it. And the problem is COMEX is price fixed, so they do derivatives to keep the price down. So they don't go to the grocery store to buy the steaks. They go right to the where the cows are being slaughtered and buying the steaks. It's not a problem. The problem is the COMEX price fixing. So once the dollar breaks, which is going to be very soon, second or third quarter this year, the dollar won't be worth anything. Then the whole COMEX gets broken because that's priced in dollars. And then we get a real price. Once gold goes up, what he's saying is once gold goes in, gold will be 10,000 an ounce. They'll go, shit, we can't afford it. Oh, wait, but silver's the same thing. It's money, and they'll start spending it. So these guys are a little wrong. Silver is money, just as gold is. So I don't know what he's talking about there, but he's wrong. It is money. It might have been, they're keeping it low to make electric batteries or solar panels. But as nobody will buy electric cars and the solars go out, then silver should go up. But silver is very, very undervalued. So just you got to be a little more patient. But you're only spending $25 an ounce. Gold, just spending $2,100. You'll see 3,000 soon. Silver, you're only spending 25. You're just going to be it'll be lower for a little bit longer. That's all. And then it'll, like you said, it'll move twice as fast because as people realize silver's money, then it'll go. So that's about it. I just wanted to share silver with you. I know people are into it and asking me, as well as the Ukraine war ending. But the U.S. won't acknowledge it until, because they got egg on their face. They've been prompting the war. They got to figure out how do we get out of it and then make it look like we won and make it look like we ended the war. So right now Putin ended the war. The war is over, but they got to go, well, how do we save face? So hopefully soon that's what the whole war in Israel is about. It's about getting out of the Russian war. So pretty ridiculous. Anyway, so I have a good day. I'll be on later with some economics. So I'm doing just pieces of economics. So you want to know what paper gold is? Boom, there's a paper gold one. Versus trying to do it all here. Like here, it's an hour and a half. If I went in economics now, it'd be 3 hours, of which it's tiring for me, but it's also like, how are you going to watch it all, right? So football, you want football, and then economics, we'll do that. So I'll redo this for silver and the Ukraine war on a separate economic one. Anyway, that's about it. I think I'm off to the pool, probably Chinese tonight. Daria can't receive messages on WhatsApp, or I guess send them. Jenna's able to send it, as you saw. So that's good. So it's not WhatsApp per se. I don't know if it's a Russia thing or her phone, but she emailed me, I can't read your messages or something, or I can't read messages or something like that. So I'm waiting for Daria to get her phone fixed. But at least she does email me, so that's a good sign. So I might go to Russia to meet Daria if this war is over and I can get a visa. Otherwise, we'll be in Turkey in March. All right. So have a good day. Good luck. Again, Baltimore 31-20 and Frisco 34-24 and Detroit 27-17 and KC 23-20 are your four scores for the weekend. I don't know. Hopefully I'll get close. Sometimes I do. I missed the Cleveland-Houston score, but I hit the KC score. I hit the Buffalo-Pitt score. I had Dallas winning. I hit the Ram game, and I missed on Tampa Bay. But I did have the score high, so I won on the over on it. So anyway, good luck to you today. I went through everything earlier, so you see the lines, you see the weather, you see the injuries. So no big injury today, and again, we will see. So we'll see Lamar choke again. I don't know. I don't care as long as it's high scoring. Lamar can do his choking. I wouldn't bet Lamar to win. I'd be very scared of that. So that's why I went over. Houston seems to be able to score, and I know Baltimore can, but they've had that 3-week off, which got to kill them. That's why I'll be surprised if they win today. All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com for the football, and you can email me there with economics questions, and I'm on pretty much every day. I'll do economics in a little bit. I think I'll go swimming first, and then I've been doing it during the day. I don't really have a time frame. It's kind of like before swim, go swim, and then maybe do some economics later. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Good luck. And hope you make your money.